Hello, this is Fear Dragon, and welcome to Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players. Here on this show, we spend 1 week highlighting an up-and-coming North American player. Throughout the week, we find out more about the player's history, their personality, and their playstyle over the course of 6 short episodes. On Monday, we'll interview the player and find out more about them. Tuesday through Thursday, we'll watch a game from each of the various matchups casted by your very own Fear Dragon. On Friday, we'll check out a generally awesome game with some sick play, and on Saturday, we'll kick it back with the player and have some wacky fun with some randomly selected events like handicap ladder matches, karaoke, and dance contests. Each episode aims to be about 20 to 30 minutes long, so you can learn more about the North American StarCraft 2 scene without interrupting your busy WCS schedule. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Breaking Out. My name is Fear Dragon, and today I'm joined here once again with Boisterous SC2. How you doing today, man?
Doing quite great. I think Hellokitty just called me a cutie because I don't think he was talking
You are
to
a
me.
cutie, man.
That was definitely to me. There was no way.
You are a cutie. Oh, man. You're a pretty beautiful guy. But
yeah,
with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in and introduce the players, because this, again, is a Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players, and we're highlighting Fnatic's Hellokitty, who coincidentally is spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner of Belcher Vestige. He's an American Protoss player and has submitted this awesome game of the week. Let's find out what he's going to do. Once again, representing Team Fnatic, it's Hellokitty.
And spawning up here in the top left-hand corner, representing Team Oh Baby, it's going to be Kane, the blue Zerg player.
Yeah.
Oh Baby.
Oh Baby. I do believe he's on Team MYI now.
But Baby's just so much more fun to say.
I mean, they're effectively the same thing, because when you think of MYI, you think, oh baby.
Exactly.
But a little friendly chatter going on between these two players. Hellokitty asking why Kane didn't join Evil Geniuses for that moolah money, that big esports dollar funding, but all good fun. And, we have a Protoss versus Zerg on our hands right now, Boisterous.
Yeah, that's definitely, it's a matchup.
It is a matchup.
It is a matchup.
We're already seeing some choices being made right now. Hellokitty not going to be going for that Forge Fast expansion that we saw every single game ever, unless you were going for a Cannon Rush or a Proxy 2 gate. But now in Heart of the Swarm, we see the Gateway expansion rather than the Forge expansion.
Yeah, I mean, that's primarily just a mark of how good the Mothership core is, where usually you would need a Photon Cannon super early in the game to hold something off like that, but now you can kind of delay your Nexus just a little bit, but just build it as soon as you start building your Mothership core, and you'll be perfectly fine, because it's just an amazing unit.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. And one thing that is important to note is that we have some nice little building wall-offs also going on in Hellokitty's base. I mean, this is super important if you're up against an early pool. You can see the pylons and the gateway, of course, also making little wall-offs just to make it a little bit less difficult to try and micro against those very, very annoying Zerglings that will just be dashing around like absolute madmen. But, Nexus goes down and Kane actually sees it. What would you like to see in this game from Kane?
I mean, really on a map like this, I would expect to just see some sort of macro play. I think that a lot of the requirement to do aggression is going to fall on Hellokitty's shoulders, especially considering how Hellokitty typically likes to play and how we saw him play like in the PvP that you did earlier this week.
Earlier this week. Yesterday, exactly 24 hours ago.
Exactly 24 hours ago, yes, indeed.
Certainly not 20 minutes later.
I would expect him to be going for something a little bit more high aggression than Kane, and Kane is probably just going to kind of sit back and really drone up, which is what we've been seeing so far.
And we actually have some Zerglings making their way all the way over into the main base of Hellokitty. This is a magnificent scout right now. As he sees, okay, the probes all on the gas geysers. You can see, okay, no Chrono Boost really going down on that Warp Gate technology right now. He sees, obviously, the Nexus going up, and there's not a whole lot that he really needed to see other than that this wasn't going to be some sort of really wonky, aggressive build coming out.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as he sees that Nexus popping out, he knows that he's been for quite a while, but there's a pylon. Never mind.
You know, it's really important, Boisterous, that he sees that there's not some super really weird aggressive build coming out right now. And I'm really glad that he scouted out the base to know that that's not going to be happening. But this pylon is really, really weird. Warp Gate technology is going to be finished up. But, okay, here's the thing. Right now, we have Hellokitty on 3 gateways, and he's getting out a Twilight Council. Which I can kind of understand, but the Twilight Council is throwing me for a loop. As well as the fact that he's going to be going for a big early gateway aggression against a Zerg who hasn't even tried to take a third yet.
Oh, the pylon finally got scouted. It was like the Sam Fisher pylon for so long, however, Kane now knows what he's up against. It looks like we are going to have 4 Zealots now warping into the front of Kane.
Wow. And he's actually going to be forcing out some spine crawlers and everything. And hey, these Zealots don't have any forge upgrades, so they're not going to be able to actually two-shot those Zerglings as they would normally do with a +1 weapon advantage. But they're still going to be able to do pretty well against them. And Kane is actually feeling really, really heavily pressured right now. I'm actually wondering if this may be an overcommittal. I'm not sure.
I really don't know, because the thing about Protoss pressure is that it's so easy to just flip that switch. And I think that that's really what Kane's preparing for. He thinks that Hellokitty is just going to flip a switch, go into that 4-gate super heavy Zealot production. But we know he's not. He does not have a forge down. He's not researching anything. If he had a forge down, if he had +1 on the way, I'd say it would be a possibility for him to just start pumping out a ton of Zealots. However, we do have a small counterattack coming by. It will not be enough. It probably won't even be able to kill off this sentry. We do have that force field going down. And this should be a pretty easy thing for him to hold. Oh, that sentry almost dying, but it's perfectly fine.
And the nice thing is that he actually, well, we end up seeing the Zerg is actually getting a huge surround right now in Hellokitty's army, but Hellokitty getting the recall off just in time. But I have to say, the fact that he went for that Zergling run by and tried to do the aggression, even though he doesn't get actually in and, run rampant through the mineral line, he at least gets to force a couple of those weapons back at home. But Dark Shrine is actually finished up for Hellokitty, and we'll have to see how much damage he can do with this. This is something that he said in his interview. He loves going for Dark Templars across the matchups, and he's actually, it's what he said was sort of his ace in the hole.
Yeah, and I mean, currently that might just be the ace in the hole to work here. We do have 2 Dark Templar working their way in. There is no layer yet. It's 9 seconds off from completion. There is no Spore Crawlers yet. So these Dark Templars might be able to get in here and do some serious damage. We do have a small push at the front for this Zerg player, however, should not be able to break that. And we are going to see these Dark Templars walking in. 5 kills on one of the Dark Templars already. The other one is going to be racking up kills in the main base. It looks like it's actually just going to be going after the Queen. Interesting choice. Definitely nice to get rid of that production super early, but there is the Overseer popping out. Oh, will the Queen go down? Yes. All right.
This Dark Templar is Sam Fisher on easy mode and does actually get taken out. Actually, no, he's on the hardest mode. As soon as he gets scouted out, he immediately loses the game. But this other Dark Templar is going after that 3rd expansion. Is he going to be able to kill it off?
Oh, no. Okay, good. But this Dark Templar is going to have a hard time trying to get out. It is going to be sneaking around, but it will be found. Those Zerglings do not lose sense so easily. They're like basset hounds. They're frightening.
Yeah, and I have to hand it to Hellokitty. He's actually said in his interview, he feels like Dark Templars are sort of underrated as, skillless units that you just kind of put in and harass. But, it's really cool to see when a player can make Dark Templars work and hide them and try and micro them around even after they've the Overseers have already been morphed in and all that kind of stuff, because it does sort of task your opponent. And if you can make them work regardless, that's actually really awesome to see. But with that being said, I mean, Kane is in a very, very bad economic position with that 3rd base being so delayed.
Yeah, I mean, the 3rd base is down behind the Protoss player by a very significant amount. I mean, like, the Protoss player's base is up and saturated before the 3rd base for the Zerg is done, and that is a horrible position to be in a PvZ. We are going to have quite a few more Dark Templars getting warped in here. We might be seeing some Archons here. Or maybe they're just going to be, it's going to be a couple Archons and then 3 Dark Templars slipping up to go back up to that 3rd base.
Oh, man. Boisterous, 3 Dark Templars will actually snipe off a base insanely quickly. And, if he actually just positions those units actually over at that 3rd expansion and don't even go after the hatchery immediately, he waits for the army to actually be out of position like this, as this Archon is going to be raking in the kills from those Zerglings. But, I don't know. He could do a lot of damage over here, man.
Yeah, we don't have any actually, no, we do have the Overseer just sitting patiently up there. However, he will be able to kill off these queens quite fast. They should just be able to get one-shotted by this group of 3 Dark Templars. But it's going to be interesting. What's his plan going to be? I really don't think he's going to have the power for this, and it looks like we are going to have quite a few of these Dark Templars getting sniped off without too much of an issue. In fact, all of them dying extremely fast. That was not the best Dark Templar usage.
Yeah, I mean, he kills off a couple of things, but I have to say he's already warped in another handful of Dark Templars, morphing in 2 Archons, getting up some more Zealots, and hey man, I think he might be able to hit another little time push over here. The only thing is he's going to be up against a lot of Roaches and 3 Spine Guards at that 3rd expansion. With Infestors out, the Infestors are going to make a huge difference in this as well.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty painful because, I mean, these units aren't particularly hard to get those Infestors hooks into. And if you really manage to hit those Zealots, I mean, they really can't do anything once they get fungled. And then we have quite a few nice fungals going down. Amazing fungals actually going down for Kayn. It looks like we are going to have a lot of these units just getting absolutely destroyed by both fungal growths and the positioning of the Roaches. The Roach positioning is just amazing. The force fields were okay, but they just aren't great when you consider the fact that he's trying to attack with Zealots, and it looks like we are going to have all of these Roaches managing to smash through, and the entire army from Hellokitty gets routed.
Yeah, but at the same time, we actually have a Dark Templar over in the main base as well. It does get fungal growth as it chases after an Infestor, and eventually cleaned up, but hey man, that Dark Templar managed to get 4 kills, and he has another Dark Templar over at the 3rd expansion. Doesn't manage to actually do any damage with that one, unfortunately, but I don't know. I feel like that harassment could have worked out really, really well, but he had to be a little bit less committal about it because as soon as he lost all those units, man, he sort of evened up the game again.
Yeah, I mean, you never really want to attack into this 3rd base just because of how small the choke you have going into it. Even more so if you're the one with the most of the melee units. I mean, you really don't want to do that. And then he didn't even bother to kill off the rocks. There was a lot going against him that he could have solved in that battle. I mean, even just killing off those rocks and not using force fields puts him in a pretty significantly better spot than where he was. However, we do have a push from the Zerg player coming out, managing to snipe off that 4th base of the Protoss, so he will be able to take a small economic lead here as he does have his 4th base up and coming.
But one thing that I like about Hellokitty is that he's relentless with his warp and aggression. He actually warps in 4 Zealots, cancels that 4th expansion from the Zerg player. So in that sense, they're a little bit even. And honestly, a Protoss player on even bases with the Zerg player isn't exactly the worst situation to be in.
Nah, it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. And it looks like we are going to have this small army from the blue Zerg player managing to chase off all of these Zealots. However, he still has not killed off this Pylon. God, how is this Pylon still alive?
Oh my god, he hasn't even seen it yet. That is amazing, but that could actually be very, very annoying. Oh god, Hellokitty's already warping 2 DTs to snipe it off once again. And again, the army is going to be so out of position for Kayn right now. Kayn, actually, I have to say, he's been sticking on this Zergling Roach composition for such a long time, and even with Infestors worked in, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough once, I mean, these upgrades start kicking in for Hellokitty.
I mean, it's all going to be about this battle right here. It looks like we are going to have some nice force fields going down, and that will be able to cut off most of this army. A nice flank actually coming in from a couple of Stalkers, being able to pick off a few of those Infestors. We are going to have the last Archon being able to get sniped off. However, most of the core of Stalkers manages to make it out, and Kayn coming out of that engagement a little bit ahead, but it wasn't quite as solid a victory as he really wanted to, especially in a position where he's slightly down compared to his opponent's economy.
Yeah, a couple of Dark Templars chasing after some of those Infestors. They do get sniped off since that Overseer is with the army, but right now Hellokitty has oh my god, a lot of gateways right now, warping in 9 units at a time. And with that being said, I think that he should be able to hold. And god, Hellokitty, I think he just went in for another DT harassment over the 3rd expansion. And
yeah, he's just picking off queens right now, and that is a beautiful position because every queen you manage to kill from a Zerg opponent is like the equivalent of 2 or 3 gateways. I mean, those are amazingly core units to kill.
Yeah, I mean, actually, you're bringing up such a good point, because look at the money of Kayn. Just now, he spent a lot of it, but he was up to, like, I think, 1,700 minerals. But, of course, getting the Ultra Sec up, he's finally going to be able to spend some of the money, even without a lot of that larva that he would otherwise would have wanted to have.
Yeah, but I mean, even Ultralisks aren't that fantastic on this map. There's not a whole lot of open corridors where they can engage. I mean, I guess if you manage to engage right down the ramp from the natural, that's pretty much one of the only favorable spots. Everywhere else, the choke points are just a little bit too narrow for them to be amazingly effective. So long as Hellokitty can force engagements in reasonably good places for him, he's still going to be in a pretty confident position in this game.
Yeah, the question's going to be when those Ultras are actually going to get involved in the battle right now, as it looks like Hellokitty is starting to pressure forward a little bit, just picking off whatever free units that he can. And actually, finally, that pylon on the right-hand side of the map did get cleaned up, so the 4th expansion for Kayn should be going up, but it is a bit behind Hellokitty, so Hellokitty going to have a bit of an economic advantage in that sense, but tech-wise, I would say he's a little bit further behind.
Yeah, we actually have 3 Dark Templars moving over to that base right now, and there is no army there to defend it, so we might see that 4th base go down yet again. However, this army from Kayn is going to be moving up here. He does not have a whole ton of money to replenish it. I mean, he has a reasonable bank to get 3 or 4 more Ultralisks, but that's not really impressive compared to the army of Hellokitty. A couple of nice fungal growths going down, killing off a couple of those Colossi extremely early. This is a reasonable spot for him to be in. Those fungal growths grabbing the entirety of the Protoss army. However, will it just be too much? These Ultralisks are not in the greatest position. They're trying to get through the roaches, but it's just not enough. 4 Ultralisks not being able to do any damage in this fight right now, and it looks like these roaches will just be able to get picked off right now. The fungal growths are not there anymore. I mean, they're doing their best, but these infestors just are not hitting enough units to really make it worthwhile, and still 2 infestors trapped in the back of the line, and this is just the issue when you try to go for something like infestors on a map like, I forgot the name of this map.
Belshire Vestige, yeah.
Belshire Vestige, and it looks like all of those good Ultralisks are going to get cleaned up, and really none of them managed to do a decent amount of damage. I mean, the only surviving Ultralisk has 0 kills, which is bad.
Yeah, those Ultras are caught in the back for such a long period of time. It definitely was very, very painful for Kayn. He's actually going to be losing some of these infestors as well. He's trying to target fire down that 4th expansion, and if he can take that out, he might be able to equalize the economy a little bit, but the Colossus are coming in, the Ultras are getting taken out, and the Zealots are just taking the damage in front of the Nexus. Their whole positioning, and Kayn is unable to snipe it off.
No, I mean, Kayn is in an awful position right now. We saw those 3 Dark Templars actually manage to kill off the 4th base of Kayn yet again, so Kayn is still down a base, and this Dark Templar harassment from Hellokitty has just completely shut down his opponent, and I really think Kayn's run out of steam.
Yeah, the Ultras are doing some massive cleave damage to those Stalkers, but they managed to get out through. And this Dark Templar is the remaining survivor of that 3 trio, and he manages to end the game with 14 kills. And look, Boisters, let's take a look. Okay, actually, no, don't even look yet. How many workers do you think were killed this game so far?
Total or by Hellokitty?
By Hellokitty.
70.
Okay, not that many, but 33
okay, well,
workers.
You know, I guess a very, very high number. Huh.
33 workers killed, along with canceling expansions repeatedly and just constantly pulling his... I mean, he was so good about warping the DTs and sending them into harass as soon as he saw the army just a little bit out of position. I think that is a really, really great usage of those Dark Templars. So really well done by Hellokitty, and I can kind of see why he submitted this as the awesome game of the week.
I mean, just sniping off that 4th base, he sniped it off like 3 or 4 times. Which it hurt as a Zerg player to watch a hatchery go down so many times, and just like the pylon that was just hiding back there, barely out of vision every time it got past.
Oh, yeah.
I know we said that the Sam Fisher was from last game. That was Sam Fisher for the week. That's gonna be the new award that I give out whenever I'm on this show.
The Sam Fisher award goes to
goes to the pylon at the 4th base of Kayn.
Oh, I could not agree with you more, man. But with that being said, that is going to wrap up the last game of the week that's going to be casted. Now, of course, we do have another episode of Breaking Out tomorrow. That's going to be the fun day game, or not game, but the fun day episode where we're just going to kick back, relax, talk about the games from the week, including this one, and, have a little bit of fun. We might do origami papercraft. We might do singing, dance lessons, custom arcade games, all kinds of shenanigans going on. So only one way to find out what we'll actually be doing with Fnatic Games Hellokitty. But Boisterous, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people catch you at?
If people want to check out other stuff I do, you can always follow me on Twitter at BoisterousSC2 or over on YouTube at youtube.com/BoisterousSC2.
All right, guys, please go ahead and check out Boisterous. He's an absolutely fantastic guy. And, of course, if you enjoyed the show, or have any feedback about it, please consider subscribing over here on Twitch or over on youtube.com/FearDragon64. The Twitch channel also, if you're watching this on YouTube, is at twitch.tv/FearDragon64. Also, be sure to check out Hellokitty. I'll be posting all the links to his Twitter, his Twitch, etc., as well as Fnatic's Twitter and Facebook, etc., over in the Twitch chat or in the YouTube notes just down below the video. So please check those out. And with that being said, I think that we're pretty much wrapped up today. So, Boisterous, close us out, man, because you did it fantastically yesterday.
I would just like to have a small moment of silence before we close this video for the Sam Fisher pylon at the 4th base. All right, goodbye, everybody.